Welcome to 1000 PS TV. This time I'm riding 4 new 6-cylinder models from BMW. This is the BMW K 1600 GTL, but I'm also riding the 3 other bikes. Stay tuned. It's nice to have a lot of work like this lying at your desk. In the test of the new 6-cylinder motorcycles from BMW, all 4 new models are to be tested at once. The new motorcycles cleaned in Spain not only because of the splendid weather. During the ride, the pleasant balance of the ride and the sovereign engine were a pleasure right from the start. The K 1600 models hit the line easily and navigated the curves effortlessly. The mighty power unit can be moved easily through the urban area in 6th gear and revs joyfully upwards. A fascinating machine. The nominal power of the inline 6-cylinder engine is still on 160 horsepower. In addition, the technical innovations ensure an increase in maximum torque from the previous 175 Nm to the current 180 Nm. For the K 1600 GT, 343 kilograms are specified as the total weight ready to ride. For the GTL it is 358 kilograms ready to ride. No motorcycle update without an update of the electronic driving aids. These can rely on a modern 6-axis IMU in the new models. Both the traction control and the new electronic suspension use the data from the IMU. This means that the control interventions can be sensitively adapted to the current driving condition. It is certainly worth mentioning that on the 1600 models the new electronic chassis also adapts fully automatically to the current load condition. BMW also wants to score points with the technology firework at the LED light. Here, the headlight not only adapts to the lean angle situation, also when braking and accelerating. The entire unit is adapted to the current driving dynamic conditions. Thus, BMW Motorrad wants to ensure great illumination in every driving condition. The new Full HD TFT color display is also on board for the new 6-cylinder models. Map navigation and connectivity are clearly included. With the large display, the very good BMW Motorrad connected app also gets a worthy and congenial partner. The navigation itself runs on a smartphone, and the map is mirrored on the display via Wi-Fi. Needless to say, you have to keep the phone connected to the USB-C charging port all the time. Like other navigation apps, the BMW system is very hungry for power. We were allowed to test the K 1600 models for 3 days. This is quite unusual. Normally we get motorcycles at international press tests just for a day and a nice round. This is because it reduces the risk of finding out about the model's weaknesses when we take a closer look. But BMW Motorrad is presumably very convinced of the machine's merits and went about it confidently. The long test was worthwhile in any case. On the one hand, we were able to experience a truly remarkable strength in the motorcycle. But on the other hand, we also became aware that the K models are still not perfect. On the very first evening we took the opportunity for an intensive test of the new light. We drove the motorcycles on a completely dark mountain road in the backcountry around Malaga. Normally, riding here at night would be really dangerous. The road is narrow and the slopes beside it are menacing. But the light illuminates the curves flawlessly. In comparison, other cornering light systems only seem like a nice try. It's amazing how well and smoothly the system works. Apparently, it has paid off that not only the lean angle but also the inclination angle of the motorcycle controls the orientation of the headlight. Of course, this not only shines with the correct positioning and orientation, but also with a great luminosity. A real plus point for people who drive at night from time to time. Late in the evening we also enjoyed the extensive heaters on the K16 models. It was at this point that the new favorite buttons made their first appearance. Because actually, to operate the seat and grip heaters, you have to finger around in the bowels of the menu in an undignified way. But with the favorite buttons, you can easily adjust your most important parameters with the push of a button. Needless to say, the heaters can be turned up really nice. In many areas of the bike you can see that BMW has tried to pay attention to a high degree of practicality. In this context, it was unpleasantly noticeable that all the buttons and controls on the motorcycle were not backlit. This was surprising, since they had thought of such clever details as an electric ventilation for the cell phone in the splash-proof storage compartment. On the second day of driving, we completed a very familiar route with the motorcycles. The route from the sea up to El Burgo is one of the best motorcycle routes I know and is strictly guarded on weekends. The demanding curves are always causing accidents and the local police is always busy. But during the week you can enjoy the curves and test motorcycles really intensively. Touring motorcycles usually quickly reach their limits here. The K1600 models passed the route amazingly well. On the one hand, the lean angle clearance was very respectable on all four models. A good job was done with the tuning from the new electronic suspension. The turn-in behavior is neutral and the heavy bikes can be directed through the curves in a force-saving manner. Even as a friend of sporty motorcycles, one has a lot of fun with intensive and demanding tours. At this point, the good brakes must also be mentioned. Even with a sporty driving style, they last a long time and can be operated with little hand force. The gigantic 6-cylinder engine fits seamlessly into this harmonious picture. The massive torque seems a bit threatening at first, but the torque is served up flawlessly and can be dosed in a practical way. The engine's manners are exquisite, and you'll surely catch yourself driving in 6th gear at 40 km per hour. Because of this great elasticity of the engine, you really forget to shift sometimes and arrive at the traffic circle in 6th gear. It's moments like this where you start to wish for an automatic gear shift. In the evening we looked back on an intensive day and were satisfied and really surprised. The K1600 was completely convincing on our intensive test track and the highway test should therefore be a formality. But things turned out a little differently. On the highway we drove the K1600 Grand America, a model which is actually made for this area. The route up to Granada offered wonderful and wide curves as well as strong fluctuations in temperature. We started in pleasant conditions on the coast and reached 0 degrees Celsius in the mountains. If any motorcycle on this planet can easily handle a highway ride at 0 degrees, then this decadent piece of BMW. But honestly, we weren't impressed by the bike's wind protection. The adjustable windshield offers a gigantic adjustment range, but at some corner of the body ruled always a drafty feeling and annoying turbulence clouded the driving pleasure. Clearly, it is complaining at a high level. But in this price league the expectations are simply high and these were not fulfilled by the bike. It was then also the more than 1 hour highway drive where one thought about the missing adaptive cruise control. A conventional cruise control is on board. But those who know the well-functioning system on the R18 Transcontinental look a bit enviously towards the system on the Fat Boxer. This is of course due to the fact that the R18 has been newly designed and the space in the front could be created without any problems. The K1600 is just a major upgrade and they obviously wanted to spare themselves a complete redesign of the front. It was amazing that we were then able to experience the advantages of the K1600 again in the narrow streets of Granada. This is probably also due to the fact that the expectations here were completely different. Visually, the motorcycle looks very big, heavy and quite threatening. The engine also spills out of the chassis a bit, making the appearance even more dramatic. But the huge machine can be wonderfully controlled with the easy-to-use clutch and maneuvered accurately. The high-quality traction control immediately flattens out minor and coarser mistakes from the right wrist. The motorcycle is therefore also well equipped for tricky sections. Even when parking and maneuvering, everything is always just fine. Of course, this is also due to the comfortable reverse gear, which has been designed to be really practical. We also had a perfect experience with the new large display on the new K16 models. It relies on a strong integration with all vehicle elements and a strong fusion with the cell phone. The centerpiece is of course the BMW Motorrad connected app, which also serves as a navigation solution. This must remain activated on the cell phone in order to provide the motorcycle with the necessary software. I'd be happy to make a video of my own about the extensive system. I definitely still have comments and suggestions for improvement. But overall, you have to acknowledge, the system is good and BMW is the only manufacturer that can offer a real alternative to Google and Apple. Nevertheless, I would like to mention that it is probably not the right choice for people who find the handling of the cell phone a pain. The complex system is basically easy to use, but you have to approach it with an open-minded and positive attitude. And you have to take your time, of course. I also have another friendly piece of advice at this point. At first glance, the GT probably seems like the best choice for taller pilots. It offers the highest seat height. But don't all immediately grab the GT. I myself am 185 centimeters tall, and I felt really comfortable on all four bikes. Also in terms of driving dynamics, the Bagger or the Grand America surprised me positively. The GT is the most agile model, but if you are emotionally tending in a different direction, you should definitely take a test ride. The 6-cylinder also glides over the road in 2022 with a lot of elegance and plenty of equipment. This time, the new headlight technology was outstanding. The engine tuning is also well done this time, as is the new electronic chassis. Surprisingly, the wind protection is not perfect and perfectionists will miss an adaptive cruise control. The Sovereign 6-cylinder is in the shape of its life in the current model year. You enjoy the engine in every situation. The K1600 GTL is the right choice for people who like to take long journeys together and don't want to do without any comfort. The K1600B appears visually much more relaxed than the K1600 GT, but is agile enough to be a lot of fun on intensive tours. It loses little of its agility and lean angle clearance due to its coolness and remains a practical motorcycle. The K1600 Grand America combines the ride comfort of the GTL with the relaxed character of the K1600B. The Sovereign glider inspires with sovereignty on long tours. Surprisingly, the wind protection was not perfect during the test. The K1600 GT is a magnificently dimensioned sports tourer that offers a practical balance between comfort and agility. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the test ride here in the Andalusian sun. It was a great pleasure riding those four bikes, and it would be also a pleasure if you can leave a comment or a thumbs up. Thank you very much. See you next time. Goodbye.